What's up, y'all? It's Cecil West, Beyond the Harmony, beyondtheharmony.com. Back again with the one and only.
This is Jonathan Felipe.
And the beard thug himself.
I am Matthew Weaver.
And this is the question of the week. You know what it is. I throw out a question. You give me an answer. Guys, I think we've asked questions like this in a bunch of different ways, different variations. It's like some origami type questions. Like I take the paper, I fold it different ways. Today, I'm going to fold it in kind of a different spin. And I got to know, what do you think the most recognizable Bone song is to the average hip hop listener? Wait, it can't be the Crossroads and it can't be I Tried.
I'm impressed that I Tried is the number 2.
Well, it's per the numbers, baby. It's just per the numbers.
Well, culturally significant. First of the month was referenced by Chris Rock, I think it was, in some comedy act. He said, they're making welfare carols. And I think Key and Peele did something with Bone. They did like a Bone Thugs and Harmony skit, or it was like the homeless Thugs and Harmony. So now, first of the month, it seems like that became bigger than Thuggish Ruggish Bone and For the Love of Money when that dropped. That was the lead single leading up. I mean, Eternal wasn't even out yet. First of the month was a huge deal, and then the Crossroads like blew it out the box, and then Days of Our Lives made people forget about Crossroads. But although Crossroads is obviously the king, but I would say first of the month is I think. Whenever, at least for Americans, when it comes to the first of the month, not the song, but the date, the first day of the calendar month, in everybody's mind, somebody, even if you're not a rap fan, you may once a year think of, hey, remember that Bone group? They made that song about the first of the month. So at a minimum, people play that song 12 times a year if you're a Bone fan. And people outside of being hardcore Bone fans are probably playing that at least one calendar per year, or they're thinking about it. Now, I think people's favorite Bone song out of them all, even more than Crossroads, is Notorious Thugs. I don't think there's a person in the world that doesn't that's heard Notorious Thugs. I think everybody likes Bone and Biggie, especially for the time period that it came out with the East-West War. And even though Bone was from the Midwest, they were signed to a West Coast label, and that they did that track with Biggie. It felt like a unity, like a olive branch kind of thing. So I think everybody's favorite outside of Crossroads is Bone and Biggie, Notorious Thugs. But I think for impact, cultural impact, the fact that Chris Rock and Key and Peele and others, and every first of the month, it's a phrase, it's a slogan. It modified the way people think about welfare. Like it's that big of a deal. I'd say first of the month. That's my pick. There's others, but I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not going to John Lippy the list, especially since
you can at the end. You can at the end.
Okay.
You can at the end. You go hard at the end.
I'm going to leave it for you guys. My first flip instinct reflex was to say first of the month.
Matt Weaver, a average Bone fan or an average rap fan that's picking a Bone song that's not the Crossroads, it's not I Tried. What are they picking?
Okay. I couldn't remember if it was average rap fan or just a person, and that definitely influences and changes my decision.
Well, it could be. I think that rap is so universal that you could say an average person because the average people, even non-big rap fans, still like rap music, right?
I'm gonna tie that into my answer. Watch. I'm gonna come back to that. Okay. So I think John has a good point as far as numbers and money and just the pop culture reference of it. I bet you almost none of those people can actually recite the melody, lyrics, or anything from that song, though. I think it was very impactful, but it is very much a Bone song, and I don't think most people could even remember the chorus or sing it for you if they tried. I tried. So I think the first one that came to mind for me as far as all time and rap and non-rap fans was, at first I was going with Thuggish Ruggish Bone, but I don't like that answer for me because it's not even Bone singing it, it's Shatasha, right? So it's a super iconic hook for like, it's a hook to end all hooks, I think. So I think for people to be able to sing along, I'll get caught singing along to that on more than one occasion for sure. But my real life, like true to life experience, what I see when I go outside is, I think, probably an answer that nobody is gonna see coming. So who's an average rap fan? And that's a maybe a different question of the week, because if you look at like those studies that say who spends money on concerts, who spends money on CDs, or now, digital downloads, right? It's not your average rap fan per se. It's like a 14 to 16-year-old white girl in like Midwest America, right? So if you go off of that, and if you go off of like my actual in the wild Bone Thugs experience, where it pops up and they might not even know anything else about the group, it's actually the song Ecstasy. There has been many a Friday night where I'm just hanging out and no one's talking about music or anything, but then people start putting songs on or whatever, and if it's that kind of get together, let's call it, then that song has come up more times than any other Bone interaction I've ever had.
That's
I think.
Good point. I mean, that's
far.
a great point. I have that same memory of that song around that time, and a lot of me being a hardcore Bone fan at that time, me having like a lot of my friends that would have that song, and I'm like, oh shit, you're jamming the new Bone? And I would tell them about that new album. They're like, oh yeah, the Ecstasy. I'm like, no, it's part of a whole fucking album. And they're like, oh yeah, no, this Ecstasy shit. And when you hear about them talk about it now, like, I can't remember, maybe it's busy. Somebody was like, I didn't even do that shit. Like Cray was just like, this is that shit right now. Like we gotta do that. So it was like, it did come at the height of, we're all doing Ecstasy this weekend.
Bro, and the numbers, if you look at the numbers on YouTube for Ecstasy, I was shocked when I was looking this up. I looked up Bone Thugs and Harmony by view count. And, obviously you have Crossroads, I Tried, Thugs, Rubbish, Bone, first of the month, but Ecstasy was like in the top 10 for view count if you count how many people uploaded it. And it's in the tens of millions. And I never saw that one coming. But that instrumental, though, is like, it's so big that even Bruce Hathcock tried to do a track with that too, right? So that's an amazing pick there, Matt. So you still hear that like to this day, like randomly people are playing Ecstasy, huh?
Like, yeah, I heard it at a festival, like not a hip hop festival. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what, like, in my heart of hearts as a Bone fan, what I wanted the answer to be, and like I want everyone to say and agree with me on, is actually Breakdown. But I'm gonna let Cecil go, and then I will probably go on a rant after that.
Nice. Please don't even. Please go on your rant now. Rant away, Matt. Don't let me stop your rant. You won't fuck me up, I promise. You rant away, sir.
I think that when you think about R&B and timeless, let's talk about timeless R&B, right? There's really not that many singers, and I think Mariah Carey is, I would say probably top 3. I don't want to put anybody else down, but she can sing kind of like nobody else, and Bone can kind of rap like nobody else. So the pairing to me was like a match made in heaven for sure. But also her ability to ride both sides of being extremely playing in the dentist office and then also having, a little bit of thug life on the side is really, maybe, I don't know, maybe Alicia Keys, maybe Beyonce is up there with her as far as that goes. That doesn't mean they're necessarily the best singers, but don't forget, she also did, what's that song she did with ODB? Fantasy?
Oh, Fantasy. Oh, yeah.
So,
that thing.
To be able to work with, some of the most thuggish kind of guys of all time, and her album sales are like, legendary status for sure. So I really wanted that to be the most recognizable, because the melody for that song, as soon as you hear it, it just it grabs you like a pop smash song, it up there with Crossroads way more than I Tried, or to compare I Tried to Breakdown is just, they're not in the same league as far as quality of melody, harmony, and lyrics go.
And I will just say, even though the numbers for Breakdown may not be the numbers of I Tried, the Mariah Carey attachment and knowing the legions and legions of her fans and the amount of people that have heard Breakdown, Breakdown was part of the fucking, the Butterfly tour, which was a pivotal time for her. And just in looking here, I see that she actually did Fantasy, and then she would do Breakdown like right after. So the amount of people that likely have heard Breakdown based on the Mariah Carey fan base, I mean, we're talking so many people, even though I don't know for sure, but I don't think the numbers for Breakdown are quite what the numbers for I Tried are. If you bring in the Mariah Carey fan base, that's a lot of people that have heard that motherfucker for sure.
I'm looking up the number ones for Mariah Carey just to see if Breakdown's on it, because like it's funny like how big Breakdown is to Bone fans, and
it did number 4, on the R&B and hip hop. It charted as number 4.
Okay, because she's got 17 number 1 tracks on that. The number ones, like greatest hits. Breakdown's not there, but I Still Believe, the original version, not the Crazy Bone version. But the original I Still Believe is certainly much more iconic than the Crazy Bone version.
Oh man, the Crazy Bone version is so much better though. I hate I Still Believe.
You don't think that's like a wedding?
I'm not like yeah, I guess I don't like weddings either. So there you go. We're all in the same gang.
But I mean, okay. It's a Bone show. It's not a Mariah Carey show, but I'm not trying to say like I listen to I Still Believe, but
sounds like you listen to I Still Believe on crank. Like,
no, dude, when you hear it, you're like, man, this is one of those like songs that were built in with Earth, just like Hero, right?
It just sounds like something that I would have played for a girl in high school that I was trying not to get to break up with me, bro. Like,
man,
I get it. You're a Mariah Carey fan. Like, spread your wings and be a butterfly. It's fine.
And the funny thing too is like I Tried. It's Akon, but it's like not even an Akon. It's probably not even on Akon's blip of his radar. Of like, oh yeah, I did that one with Bone.
Okay, but I've mentioned this before. I literally know more than one person that thought that was an Akon song. Like they're younger. They're I'm 38. One of them's 28 now. She had no idea about Bone Thugs and Harmony. She thought it was a fucking Akon song.
I told you, my wife thought it was Nelly featuring Akon. She thought Wishbone was Nelly. It's like things won't change. I'm stuck in this game. Bringing me back, man. Got me feeling dirty. Yeah. There was a good rant going on there, Matt. That was that Mariah Carey Breakdown, and I agree with you. She is top 3.
I think Breakdown's a great pick when you're looking at the spectrum of what we mentioned, which is your average fan or hip hop fan. Ecstasy is a great pick too, because again, I know from my own experience, not even Matt's, like I was around people that were not like, I don't think they disliked Bone, but I don't think they were like me waiting in fucking line for Bone albums and shit. And that they all knew that Ecstasy song. And like you said, the YouTube numbers are there.
Well, Crossroads has been everlasting. I mean, it's always going to be at funerals forever and ever. Ecstasy gets seemingly played at festivals and at rave parties and things of that nature.
Drugs, baby.
To this day. Is Breakdown everlasting? I mean, is it still relevant? Is it still part of culture to this day?
Well, I think Mariah Carey has a lot of overlapping fans, is what I think it is. So it's like, I don't know if it's like in terms of like what you said, like first of the month, like even people that aren't Bone fans that know the song, like when they see it's the first of the month, you know, when they're flipping through the calendar and they see it's the first of the month, like you're probably hard pressed if you even kind of know that song to not go, it's the first of the month. Like, so in that respect, like I don't think Breakdown's the same way, but I think because of the overlapping amount of Mariah Carey fans that are probably also hip hop fans, they probably know that song. But that might be able to be said about any Mariah Carey Bone fan song. Like we don't give a fuck about Little Love, but are there like legions of Mariah Carey fans that think that's the jam?
I sure hope not. But
and the sad part is like structurally, it's a decent song. Like the way it's engineered and the way it was formulated, it's just it hit that too poppy. Whereas Breakdown felt like smooth and like something you hadn't heard before. Little LOV felt like it was.
I've said this before too, okay, which I hope this helps some people. As a Bone Thugs and Harmony fan, and as a Bone Thugs song, Little Love sucks. But if you were to say that it wasn't a Bone song, if you said this was a Jermaine Dupri featuring Mariah Carey, Lil Bow Wow and Bone Thugs song, for me, it makes it totally different because it definitely felt like a Jermaine Dupri song. It felt like Jermaine Dupri and the JD All Stars in that motherfucker. Didn't belong on a Bone album to me, but
that's a good point.
But I loved it I loved what it represented, like JD being there, and like people hated Bow Wow, and I was like, well, Mariah and JD go about. I was like, where the fuck is the brat? Like round this motherfucker out. So it always felt acceptable as a JD, you know.
If that song was a featured track on another album, people would love it to this day.
As a JD record for sure.
JD or Bow Wow or Mariah Carey, like any of them. Yeah, if it was like on Jermaine Dupri's Life in,
I think it would have had to be like a So Def All Stars compilation or some shit like that, and then that song will be totally. I think Bone fans would look at it totally different because then they would be like, "Yo, Bone stole the show on that fucking So Def."
Yeah,
compilation.
That changes the whole thing, bro. Wow. But yeah, I mean, but you still feel proud of them, right? When you see the video, like, are you happy to see Bone dancing with Mariah out there?
I don't love that song and video, but I don't hate it the way most Bone fans do. But then again, I'm a strength and loyalty guy, so you know, I don't hate it like that.
Before we ran on further, we got to hear what your pick is there. So what you got, man?
All right, I just want to say that I'm in a very tight agreement with what you said about first of the month, because of what you said, right? Not even because of the song necessarily, but that the literal turning of the first of the month. Like I said, if you've heard the song enough, when you see that, that's the first thing your mind does. Or if it was the first of the month and you just see a meme that says it's the first of the month and you know that song, you sing it. As you read it, you sing it in the tone of first of the month. So that's a pretty good pick. Matt's Ecstasy is a really good pick as well. I'm gonna throw out here's one that I don't think is the winner, but I think that subconsciously motherfuckers don't even realize this is a big song and it has nothing to do with Bone. But because of the numbers that the Batman and Robin soundtrack actually did in sales, and because of the numbers that the movie actually did, subconsciously people know Look Into My Eyes. Like, and that's not like one of my favorite Bone songs, but like at the time of that movie did numbers and the soundtrack did big numbers. It was like a number 5 Billboard Top 200 album. So in the back of people's minds, they, you know, average whatever, not even rap fans kind of know that song without knowing it. Just numbers speaking because of the Batman, you know, the success of the movie. That's not mine though, but I wanted to bump that one out there. And I'm not even like a Look Into My Eyes guy, but I wanted to bump that out there. I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but mine isn't a group track.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Curiosity is piqued.
Is it?
Yeah.
Did I see you rolling? They see
Oh, how did I miss?
did they see you riding dirty with 302 million YouTube fucking plays, dog?
And a Grammy?
Do they with a Grammy? Do they see that?
I didn't see that coming.
To me, that has got to be the most recognizable song, especially because it was in terms of new and old. That was like a newer at that time, I mean, it's old as fuck to us now, right? But it was much later than the Crossroads or First of the Month or anything. And we're talking about a smash explosion of a hit. I will say too, I thought, your explanation of Notorious Thugs. I mean, that in this argument, that may very well be the actual winner, because regardless of the numbers, it's like everybody knows Biggie, and people don't even call it Notorious Thugs. Like, people say Bone and Biggie. Like, it's the fucking, I mean, in fact, if you go to YouTube and you search, Bone and Biggie, like, that's a fucking high rated search term. But if we're talking just general statistics, if we're talking an award, if we're talking, like I said, 302 million views on one YouTube video alone, that's not even counting the extra uploads that there's another one that I'm looking at, 2.6 million just on someone's little lyric video. You got another one that's almost 1 million. So it's like, who knows streams? Who knows sales of that motherfucker? It did, I think, 2 weeks at number one, but it did multiple weeks just in like the top 10 and top 50. Like you said, it won a Grammy. It's a 4 times platinum single.
It's what's so amazing about it is it's so big, it's Grammy Award winning, and the world doesn't know Chameleonaire by name or face. They don't know Crazy Bone by name or face, but they know They See Me Rolling, They Hate It, Patron. Everybody knows the chorus, but they don't know Chameleonaire and they don't know Crazy Bone. And if you showed them a picture of Chameleonaire, they're like, I don't know who that is. Who's that guy?
But I'll tell you though, at the time of it, like, people knew Chameleonaire. And I actually believe at that time Chameleonaire had done a lot for Crazy Bone. And I don't remember the full story. I'm sure somebody in the comments will verbatim the fucking story to me, but that was like an old Crazy Bone verse, and he had long forgot about it, and then just kind of got the call like, hey, we're gonna do a video. And it was like, oh, cool. And they did a fucking video, and it's a Grammy Award winning number one fucking smash hit, to the point that Weird Al parried it. And even though I'm not like a Weird Al guy, it's like Weird Al only did parodies of, huge, especially the ones he did videos to. It's like it had to mean something large enough that his parody would hit with impact to the culture. You know what I'm saying? So that song was like big enough to the culture that it spread out to Weird Al, doing shit like Eat It. I mean, we're talking, he parodies Michael Jackson and shit. So it's like, to me, that's got to be the most recognizable song, maybe even more than I Tried.
Can you imagine the reflex Crazy Bone has now in his head every time he does a feature with somebody, that he's thinking like, man, is this thing like a couple years from now going to turn into be something big? Like, because like Trey the Truth did the one, Stay Trill. I mean, that one had potential to become big. It's not quite on the level of Riding Dirty, but every single Crazy does now with somebody, he's got to be thinking, is this going to be another Grammy, another chess piece on my board? Because man, that's wild to just drop a verse and then forget about it. Years later, you're getting a Grammy for it. It's crazy.
Well, I think that the songs that we selected, that's a great debate within itself. Is it First of the Month? Is it Notorious Thugs? Is it Ecstasy? Is it fucking Riding Dirty? I don't think that it's Breakdown, even though, like, I agreed in a lot of aspects, but when you pair Breakdown against the list I just gave, like, that's a hard sell. But to Mariah Carey fans who are, I mean, this is going to piss people off, but Mariah Carey fans are legions and legions larger than Bone fans. So it's like, even that one is this is all like a good debate within itself. These are all great fucking picks. And what's fun about them is they're all good picks for different reasons. One is because they see the calendar and they think about it. One is it's connected to the fucking King of New York and people love it. One is people love to do fucking drugs to it. One is, you know, there's a fan base so fucking large that even album tracks are probably like #1 singles to millions and millions of people. You know, one is quantifiably like proven by the numbers in the awards. So it's like, these are all amazing picks, you know, regardless of them. These were good picks, but John, you said you had other picks.
Yeah, I wanted to throw these at you to see if this changes anything. So Ghetto Cowboy, you know,
that's a good
does
one.
everybody know we gotta count your money? And as I said like 5 times on the show throughout the 3 years, is that I couldn't believe it in 98, a completely different world culturally with race and everything. I saw a 100% white fraternity perform Ghetto Cowboy at a big show at my college. And I was like, man, that is wild to see this happen. Like, it would be normal in 2021, but in 98, that was something like a different world back then. And when I saw that, I thought, man, Bone has broken the barrier. This is incredible to see. So like I felt like that was a good
gold
moment.
single. Yeah, gold single, #1 on Hot Rap. I mean, it hit, I think, the top 20 of the Hot 100. I mean, that's a good one. Were you guys, I was always surprised that didn't end up in like a bunch of movies.
Oh yeah, Ghetto yeah.
Like I was like, how is this not part of like fucking 400 different soundtracks of some kind,
or even the premise for like movies?
Yeah, you know.
Now, okay, another one that I wanted to throw at you. I mentioned it like quickly on this video, but you know, Days of Our Lives, I think it's a mega hit amongst Bone fans, but is it big outside of the Bone cult? Not at all. Okay. Like, it's a huge one to Bone fans. Bone fans put that in the top 10, but I always found that to be strange. Like, to me, it's not even in my top 50.
No, see, it's a big, it ranks high on my list. Like, it's got all the shit that I want from Bone, including that Crazy Bone interlude that just, it gives you an Art of War style feel of having that interlude first. So it ranks high. The question is, outside of Bone fans and then outside of fans of that movie or soundtrack, is there anybody that has found that song independently?
No, and that's always a confusing one to me, because it might even be in my top 3, because it's such a powerful song on all fronts, not just, you know, as far as gangster rap goes, right? But I would be hard pressed, I think, to even think of one time when I tried to force it on somebody that they were like, oh yeah, this is just a good song, regardless of whether or not you're crazy about them or not.
Yeah, which is wild to me, because I'm like, and John's not like the biggest fan of this song, which that's always wild to me too. I'm like, I feel like this has everything that John would want in a song. It's an older Bone style. They're all doing harmonies. It's fucking, it had soundtrack placement. It's got a fucking really good video with it, despite Busy not being there. But you know, unless you were like a non-Bone fan, but you had the Set It Off soundtrack, like, I don't know a single person that just rocks with that. That's not a Bone fan.
Here's what it was, is at the time I was in a rap group and I was really intricate with rap, and every little thing bothered me. And Bud Smoking Lethal Warriors, I was like, yo, you guys couldn't come up with something different. And I'm like,
that's what they are.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I guess that's what they are.
What did you like? Everybody want to sound like bada bada boom 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 boom. I mean, come the fuck on.
Yeah, you know, I just felt like, I was like, man, that's what you guys decided to rhyme with More Than Thugs. Bud Smoking Lethal Warriors. I was like, okay, Warriors and Thugs. And again, like, you know, years later, I'm like, all right, well, that was a great song. I had it, and believe me, I had it.
I just want you to know, as a single, that it actually did #2 on the Billboard Hot Rap tracks. It did #20, so it's a top 20 Billboard Hot 100.
Well, it came out for me, and this may not be the way history shows it, but on the same day on the radio in South Florida, Days of Our Lives came out, and Hey by Crucial Conflict. Wait, no. It wasn't Hey. It was Po Pimp. I think it was Po Pimp. One of the two. It was either Do or Die or Crucial Conflict came out with their single, at least for me, hearing it for the first time the same day. Like I heard them both. It was either Po Pimp or Hey, and
like they were getting big at the same time or whatever.
Same time, yeah. And that one just hit me out of nowhere. I was like, wow, what is this? Like, where did this come from? So I was always thrown off by it, and I don't not like it. It's in my top 100. It's just it's like if I had to have what does John Lippy put on his Bone collection one disc, it wouldn't be on the disc.
Wow. But that's crazy.
So let me throw past you. I did some calculations of the top 25 Bone songs by volume, by count, by view count on YouTube. And the nice part, and the reason what drove me to do this was that Flesh and Bone was in an interview, and he was talking about how the set, like that, how Bone's set is bigger than any other group set, that they could perform for hours, and the fans are going to know every single song, and they're going to know every single lyric. And I was like, all right, well, how true is that? How big is Bone's set? So I set out to see just what the top 25 songs were by view count. And this is not to say that these are like the best songs by Bone. This is just, along with this topic, the most popular songs based on YouTube viewage. So the list is, as you could guess, the Crossroads is number one, although Cecil pointing out Riding Dirty with 320 million. I don't know if that's more or less than Crossroads, but
302 million, but it's probably well over 320 if you add them all up.
Do you know the Crossroads off the top of your head?
Sure, let's look. I got access.
Yeah, because
just we're basing this just off of YouTube.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, and Riding Dirty had the
okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay. There's a video upload by Bone Thugs Music, which is their official channel. 126 million.
Wow.
And then they got the song upload that's another 3.5 million. So and that's both from Bone Thugs Music. Now the Crossroads was uploaded 14 years ago. Riding Dirty was uploaded 12 years ago. So everybody just take that for what it's worth.
But Crossroads had its heyday in 96, 10 years prior. So, in 96, if YouTube existed, Crossroads would have a gazillion hits. But still impressive that Riding Dirty has 300. But both of them are Grammy Award winning. So it doesn't matter. So Crossroads number one, I Tried number two, First of the Month number three, Thuggish Ruggish Bone number four, For the Love of Money number five, number six is Ghetto Cowboy, number seven Riding Dirty, but I guess I did the math wrong on that. I must have missed it. Number eight, Meet Me in the Sky. You guys got any commentary? I'm surprised how big that is, but musicians do love the piano intro to it. Like there's another aspect of Bone Thugs and Harmony that people don't realize, and that's those songs that have piano instrumentals.
Do you realize based on your YouTube list that Riding Dirty is number one?
Yeah.
Okay. just making sure. As far as Meet Me in the Sky, even though they're not the Crossroads, Bone fans love the Crossroads part 2 through fucking 49. Like it's just a fact. Like I don't get into every one of these slow, rest in peace songs, but like the new the dedication shit, is that what it's called, Matt, with Flesh, the new one?
Yeah.
It's not the Crossroads, right? But it's like anybody that doesn't say that it comes from the Crossroads vein would be bullshitting. So it's like Bone fans love the Crossroads lane. It's even why, even though like Change the World and If I Could Teach the World, even though they're not like RIP songs, it's even why those songs are successful, because they all come from that vein. So I'm not surprised, even though Meet Me in the Sky is, man, I dare anybody to go to one of Matt's parties and do the ecstasy and then try to look at that video eye to eye fucking the duration of the video. I dare you.
The Riding Dirty showed up at number 7 because I was looking up Bone Thugs and Harmony, and Riding Dirty is featuring Crazy Bone. So I just kind of like threw it in there, like, oh man, we got to throw this in here. Home with Phil Collins has a lot more views than I thought. Like I always felt like that just kind of went under the radar, but I guess Phil Collins fans, you look up Home and then you see like, oh, hey, there's another version with Bone. What's this? Who are these Bone Thugs and Harmony?
Could you imagine being like a 47 or like 57-year-old guy that's a Phil Collins fan, and like your grown kids get you this fancy laptop and you're looking up your Phil Collins and you're like, what's this? And then it's just like Bone Thugs and Harmony and Phil Collins. You're just what in the fuck? But it must happen to him all the time, because In the Air Tonight is like one of the most sampled songs for rap ever. So Phil Collins fans that don't know about rap must just be constantly clicking the wrong shit. Like, what the fuck is this?
They're getting this, staring at the world through my rear view with Tupac. They're like, well, who is this guy? Tupac? So yeah. So then, okay.
Side thing, just in that lane, by the way, I remember Phil Collins saying something around the effect of how much like he appreciated that like rappers wanted to sample a Phil Collins song that wasn't In the Air Tonight. Like he, you know, because he was like, everyone samples In the Air Tonight. So he really appreciated that they didn't want to sample that they wanted to do like a completely different song. And I didn't know that Phil Collins song until Bone, because I'm primarily a rap fan. Even though like I know a lot of music, I knew In the Air Tonight as a Phil Collins song. But that song, I wasn't familiar with, or at least I wasn't like cognitive of the fact that I was familiar with it. So
yeah, Phil was a big deal in my childhood. Not necessarily for me, but just he was everywhere. So yeah, all right. So 9 was Home, 10 was Breakdown, 11 Notorious Thugs, 12 Ecstasy, 13 Resurrection. Surprisingly had a lot of views, but again, that instrumental, you know, musicians like to learn these kind of songs. So Resurrection has an appeal due to the instrumental. Weed Song from Resurrection surprisingly is up there with the view count, which made me happy, because when I saw that music video, I thought, man, they shot a really nice video for this. Too bad it's going to live and die on this DVD. Little did I know YouTube would be invented 7 years later. So I'm happy Weed Song got its love now on the internet. I guess people fire up at nighttime and just find a bunch of weed videos. They got some Jimi Hendrix, and you wind up at Bone Thugs and Harmony at some point. Number 15, Thug Love. Interesting that it has that many views, but it's a good song with Tupac. Little Love, number 16. Rebirth at 17. Shoot 'em Up surprisingly has a lot of views, although I mean it's a Bone fans love Shoot 'em Up, but it's on an obscure Great White Hype soundtrack. Yeah, did either of you guys see the movie?
yeah.
You did? Was it any good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did you see it because of the Bone? Are you like a boxing fan?
I can't truthfully answer that because I don't remember. Like,
there was nothing else to do at the time.
Yeah, I remember it kind of being like a, you know, the movie people wanted to see, like Samuel L. Jackson and shit. Like I remember, I don't think it was like a number. So I can't say like Bone made me do it. Like, yeah, that's too hard for me to give you a truthful answer.
Gotcha. Days of Our Lives came in at 19, which, you know, I would have thought that would have been higher. Change the World, number 20. 21, Body Rot. 22, Buddha Lovers. So weed music videos getting up there. Bone keeps making a weed video. They're going to get the hits. 23, Coming Home. 24, East 1999. 25, Everything 100. And then I just threw 3 more in there. If Heaven Had a Cell Phone, This Ain't a Game with Little Easy, and All Good from Mo Thugs. And that's 28 bona fide good singles right there. And that's a pretty big playlist right there. And I left tons out. I didn't put Mo Murda in there. And I think Mo Murda, actually, when I went back to look, Mo Murda had like 50 million views if you combine all the uploads.
It's the cool thing about being a Bone fan is, you know, and you kind of hit the nail on the head, which is the fans know them all. When Crazy Bone did that, the Wire Lounge COVID show, he did a very unique set that is shit that he doesn't normally do. But I guarantee if there were fans there and he was doing it live, the front row and probably all the way back would have been full of people that knew every fucking word. By the way, the neighborhood slang was the standout moment for me. But it's very true. It's just like, as a Bone fan what you're going to get when you go to the show, but you also know they're going to throw some fucking they're going to throw a screwball in here that's going to be awesome. And Bone fans know it all, So the only thing that was crazy about that list was like how I expected like Thug Love to rank much higher than like Lil Love, for instance.
Never a single and there's no music video.
Too fucking Pac.
But the Tupac fans don't care about that song, man. It's the funniest thing, man. They don't even care about Bone mostly.
It's so crazy to me that these psycho Tupac fucking fans, sorry, Tupac fans that are listening, these psycho Tupac fans aren't like dick hard over a Tupac song that came out after he died full of gunshots. And
keep in mind, Bone's on Ruthless though, so if they're death row riders, they're not gonna, Bone's the enemy kind of thing. As silly as that is, because Pac's really not even death row his whole career, just the end of it. But something I thought of too, and Bone might want to think about this, and it's too bad they didn't think about this, but like every Christmas, we all hear Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC. And I think there's a couple other holiday type songs. Obviously, Mariah Carey made a whole holiday Christmas album. Bone should think about making some kind of, they have first of the month. They made every month there's a holiday first of the month. And that's how we kind of started this topic. But that's all I'm saying is maybe they make for Halloween, Fresh Prince has Are You Ready for Freddy? And the Fat Boys had something about Freddy. The Fat Boys had A Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh, Are You Ready for Freddy was by Fat Boys, and A Nightmare on My Street was by Fresh Prince. So they got some Halloween songs. You could argue that Half of Eternal, Mr. Ouija, is a Halloween song. But these kind of things get airplay annually and become part of culture, cultural norms, and customs. So then also one of the songs that this feels like the answer to something, and it's simply Determination. The music video, the song, it feels like it's the answer to something. I guess the most unsung music video by Bone. I don't know.
I love that shit.
Yeah, Determination is pretty dope, and it should be on there somewhere. So that's that list. 28 bona fide Bone Thugs and Harmony tracks, not even counting Mo Murda. And I just stopped there. And I think I might try to make a top 100 Bone list. But it's so hard when you make these Bone lists because you're like, all right, is it the top 100 in terms of sales, view count, not people knowing it, or is it your favorite? But then when it comes to your favorite,
I think it's got to be like just like the top. I would go with 50 top 50 Bone songs according to Bone fans, because it's like Mo Murda, the only Mo Murda sales are Eternal sales. You know what I mean? It's not like that's a single or anything, but like ask some Bone fans where that ranks. Some Bone fans are going to tell you that's top 5, top 10. Someone's going to tell you it's number 1. So it's like Bone fans are a different breed. Sales don't need to mean shit to a Bone fan for it to be a best song.
When we did the bracket, I think Mo Murda won. Do you remember what B Teenage Board's winner was?
No.
Because I think we ended up having the same final four of Mo Murda, Days of Our Lives, Breakdown, and Notorious Thugs.
I thought Notorious Thugs won ours.
Did it? No, you think anything could beat Mo Murda? It's just on principle. I don't think anything beats. I mean, in all, Bone and Biggie, yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Biggie.
You're right. You know what? Maybe Notorious Thugs won out.
I think Notorious. I don't know. I bet it came down to those two. Well, I'll have to go back and see that video.
Well, here's the thing about when I try to make a top 50 or whatever, top 100 list. It's that when I make it, I'm like, well, like all 28 songs we just listed, I'm tired of them all, right? So it's like, what are my top 100 now? Like if I had to make a list of 100 Bone songs, if I could only keep 100 Bone songs, it would be different than if I was listing what I think the majority of people would believe the top 100 list is. So that's one of the tough spots, because then you make your top 100 list and someone says, bro, you don't have, you know, little LOV on there. It's got Mariah Carey. So it's tough.
Well, nobody's gonna take little LOVE over I Still Believe or Breakdown. Could you imagine a fan just being like, bro, Lil LOVE is the best Mariah Carey Bone?
You know, we forget about Don't Forget About Us too. Like that one often gets forgotten in the list of collabos with Mariah Carey.
Just whatever ass song.
You don't think it's a like
No,
Bone aside, you don't like it as
cool.
a Mariah Carey fan?
No, it's cool. Yeah. I'm not singing Butterfly in my car like you. So, you know, Mariah doesn't.
No, in my car, I'm singing and weeping to Mariah's theme. That's the best Mariah Carey song of all time, bro. There's a light inside of me, Cecil, and it shines brightly.
That's
they
beautiful.
Try,
that's
but they
beautiful.
Can't take it away from me.
That's beautiful, John.
I'm crying on my keyboard.
We gotta know from everybody what you think the most recognizable song by Bone is by your average. We said hip hop fan. We'll just say your average hip hop fan, your average person. John said the first of the month. Matt Weaver said Ecstasy. I said Riding Dirty. Now it's your time to shine in the comments below. Make sure you drop it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to your boys at Beyond the Harmony. And as always, we will catch you on the next one.
Beyond the